Sorry. Question for you on this specific issue. Do you expect more cities to follow DC's path if this goes through? So the idea is that Chicago, LA, San Francisco, would they expect similar action what we've seen in DC? Any other questions, sir? There's reporting that the administration is going to reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay, but we're trying to clean up crime? How do they go hand in hand?
We're only looking at that. That's early, but somebody reported it, which is fine. We're looking at it. Some people like it. Some people hate it. Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children. But we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next few weeks. And that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, the subject of marijuana. I've heard great things having to do with medical, and I've had bad things having to do with just about everything else. But medical and, for pain and various things, I've heard some pretty good things. But for other things, I've heard some pretty bad things. The other part of your question, we're just going to see what happens with it all. We're going to have a tremendous success in what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching, and maybe they'll clean up, and maybe they'll do this and get rid of the cashless bail thing and all of the things that caused the problem. If you go back, this whole thing with cashless bail is a disaster. So many problems came that we never had before. So they're watching us today, and if they don't learn their lesson, if they haven't studied us properly, because we're going to be very successful. I have zero doubt about that. It's going to be. It's a question of will it be really fast, like the border. Everyone said, they used to say, Biden used to say, I need legislation. I didn't get any legislation. I called up our people, and we did a great job. Tom Homan was great. As you know, our secretary did a great job. They did a great job. There's no games. They didn't play games. And we're going to have the same thing here. But then I'm going to look at New York in a little while. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's see. It's going to go pretty quickly. And if we need to, we're going to do the same thing in Chicago, which is a disaster. We have a mayor there who's totally incompetent. He's an incompetent man. And we have an incompetent governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent. His family threw him out of the business, and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You never know what happens. But Pritzker's a gross incompetent guy, thrown out of the family business. But when I look at Chicago and I look at L.A., if we didn't go to L.A., 3 months ago, L.A. would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If he would have allowed the water to come down, which I told him about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems, let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into L.A. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it, we have it coming down. But hopefully L.A. is watching. That mayor also, the city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there, and I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. Their homes were incinerated. They weren't like, even the steel was literally, it was all warped and literally disintegrated because of the winds and the flame and the whole thing. It was like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because what they had suffered. Almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder. Almost immediately, Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits. And the mayor said to me, we think we could have them in 2 years. I was walking down the street, and I met with firemen and police. And I was saying hello to many people that were standing in front of their homes with yellow tape. You can't go in. You can't go onto the lot. And those people wanted to start rebuilding their homes then and there. And the mayor said, we should be able to get them the permits within 2 years. I said, that's a shame. 2 years? Are you kidding? I'm going to get them the federal permit like almost immediately. 2 years. And she roared back, well, maybe 1 year. The place was booing her out of the place. They don't have their permits to build their homes. And now they're talking about putting This is among the most beautiful areas was in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there. Can you believe this? I love low-income housing. I made money with low-income housing. I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get, and it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry. And now, you know, they had tremendous, they loved that area. They loved the whole big area, different places, but they loved it. It was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff. And some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods, was incredible. And you know what? I watched people on television. They want to go. They want to leave. They've lost their spirit. They've lost their heart because the mayor's incompetent. And Gavin Newsom is incompetent. He's got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent. And you have Los Angeles is, you know, it's amazing. You know, I called, the first thing I did, I got the Olympics to go there. I was the one that got it. And by a rare thing that happened, I'll be the president. I was very upset because I got the Olympics there, and I said I won't be president when it comes. But bad things happened, and illegal things happened, really illegal things happened. Now it turns out one good thing was I'm going to be the president for the Olympics for 2050, for 250, which is going to be fantastic, and also for the World Cup. So we have a lot of good things, and I hope 250 is going to be the 250th anniversary is going to be the best. But when I looked at those people, and I saw last night on television that they still don't have their permits, it's a disgrace what's happened in Los Angeles.
The discussion revolves around whether more cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, and San Francisco might follow Washington, D.C.'s recent approach to tackling crime and public safety. President Trump suggests these cities are closely watching D.C.'s example and may choose to adopt similar policies to address their own challenges. On the topic of marijuana, there is an ongoing consideration to reclassify it. Opinions vary widely. Some see medical benefits, especially for pain relief, while others worry about negative effects on children and adults. The administration is evaluating this complex issue and expects to make a decision in the coming weeks. The balance between recognizing medical uses and addressing concerns about broader impacts is a delicate one. President Trump expresses confidence that the efforts to clean up crime will be successful and hopes other cities will learn from these initiatives. He specifically criticizes the concept of cashless bail, calling it a disaster that led to many problems not previously encountered. Turning to Chicago, he harshly criticizes the mayor and governor, calling them incompetent and implying their leadership has contributed to the city's troubles. He stresses the need for federal intervention and hints at plans to take action in Chicago similar to efforts elsewhere. Los Angeles suffered devastating wildfires, destroying about 25,000 homes. The president recounts how he intervened early to facilitate the release of water to help manage the fire situation, including deploying the military to assist. However, he sharply criticizes local authorities for their slow response in granting rebuilding permits, which has left many residents frustrated and unable to rebuild their homes promptly. Although federal permits for rebuilding were secured quickly through federal officials like Lee Zeldin, the city permits remain delayed, with local officials suggesting it could take 1 to 2 years. This has angered residents, many of whom have lost hope and the emotional connection to their neighborhoods. There is also controversy around plans to replace some of the destroyed luxury homes with low-income housing. While the president acknowledges his experience in both luxury and low-income housing development, he understands why former residents are upset by the prospect of such changes in their beloved neighborhoods. Finally, President Trump reflects on his role in securing the 2028 Olympics and the 2026 World Cup for Los Angeles. Despite these positive developments, he is disappointed with the city's current leadership and recovery progress, emphasizing the challenges ahead while expressing hope for future success.